Hello, everyone. Um, my name is Patrick, and first things first, I want to say happy birthday to me because it's my 18th birthday. That's a big step, you know, in life. I guess that's what I hear a lot. So I'm gonna go with that. I mean, it feels pretty good, being able to do stuff, but that's all irrelevant. Anyway, so the point of this is to discuss my theory on religion. Okay. Um, Now, just a quick heads up, this video might be a little scattered. I might edit it at some point to kind of give it some sort of structure, but overall, it's just gonna be me talking off the top of my head, letting you know what I'm thinking, and so on and so forth. So, for starters, let's just take a look at the most common religion out there, Christianity. Okay, what a lot of people think when you're a Christian, it's like this is the only way to be. If you're not with God, then you're going to hell. You're with whoever, and that's the wrong way to be. And now with most other religions, it's much like that. It's if you believe in another God, then you don't believe in me, kind of thing. You know. So has it ever occurred to you that maybe all of these gods are simply they're simply one being, one entity, and we are all that entity. Okay, so I'm trying to find a way to kind of ease my way into this whole thing, but I think I'm just gonna come out with it and slap you in the face with my truth, and that's simply that we are all God, but not simply Jesus Christ, or if that's what the Christian God would be, or Allah, or Buddha. No, what it is they're all simply concepts, that pertain to specific personalities. For instance, take a look at me, for example. Obviously, I'm a bit of a dark person, and the idea of Christian heaven doesn't sound all too appealing to me. It's really bright and lovely, and beautiful gardens and things like that. That's not me. For me, I'd rather be in a hell kind of like environment. Obviously, I wouldn't want to be burning for eternity. Nobody does, but that seems like a better environment for me. It's where I would belong. So that's where my specific religion would kind of fall into a different category other than Christianity. But because of that, I would be burning in hell. So it's kind of like I have to become someone I'm not in order to be saved. And that doesn't seem right. So when you look at things from another perspective, say Buddhism, I feel like before I become any religion, I would be a Buddhist because as far as I'm concerned and what I've gathered, they're big on self-perseverance, becoming one with yourself, becoming one with Buddha. It's all about your own journey, right? Well, maybe each and every religion simply pertains to one specific person, like all these different religions were created and only one can be right. What happens to the rest of us? And look at Indians, and whatever term you want to look at them. They believed in spirits. They weren't even westernized. They never had an opportunity to learn about the Bible. They didn't have a chance to learn about Christianity. Does that mean that they're going to rot in hell because they didn't have a chance to know? And I mean, obviously the Bible's been published in many different languages, but when you live in a different country, unlike America, Christianity isn't the thing being promoted on every corner. You know what I mean? If you live in, Iraq or wherever, they're not being like, brought up with Christianity. They're being brought up with whatever the fuck Allah is. I wouldn't know, but you see my point. It's like there has to be some kind of median for all of it. It can't just be this is the way to be, this is the only way to be, and if you're not this way, then you're gonna fucking die and burn in hell. Like, that's not cool, and that's not fair. And honestly, if there was a true God, no God would put you in that kind of situation, which is where my real theory comes from. So let me paint a picture for you really quick, okay? So, starting from the beginning of time, we have the Big Bang Theory, which is obviously not the beginning of time because it took time for these, elements to come together, coincidentally and blow up into this beautiful, magical thing that created planets and life on a planet. So, what if that wasn't so coincidental? So my theory is, say, there's an orb. There's an orb somewhere far off in the universe, okay? And I know a lot of us believe in aliens, so this should kind of reach a middle ground between every possible theory there is. So, like I said, say there's a ball of energy, and something starts to siphon out of the energy. It's just more energy, and that energy starts somewhere, and that energy creates a specific reaction, and this specific ball of energy happens to be God. And in a lot of Bibles it all says we are God. Some of them don't say, hey, we're God. Some say, you need to grow up, but and live under me. But one big thing that they never mention is, like, what happens after death. Like in Christianity, God says, you're gonna come to my kingdom, you're gonna live with me. That seems kind of empty to me. Why would you want to, stay living, working under someone else for your entire life? You know what I mean? In life, we all work our way up the food chain. We're all working to be on top somewhere. And it's like, as soon as you die, all that work is for nothing, because you're going to be at the bottom again. You're going to be under the big guy? So, what if we're all God, and our purpose in life for coming here, for being born, is to learn a lesson, is to carry about a task that none of us are aware of at this point, because the most we comprehend is what our brain, what our physical minds can comprehend. So what does that leave us with? That leaves us with our spirit and our soul to understand what we're here to do. So, when I say that we're all God, what if that specific ball of energy that was siphoning out more energy was simply kind of, if you look at it sort of like, look at it like sperm cells. Obviously, that's probably not too appropriate, but if you take into consideration that, it goes out, they travel, they all do their own thing. What if we all basically go about gathering knowledge? That's what we're here to do. We're here to gather intelligence, and at some point, we live multiple lives. We reincarnate ourselves over and over again, so that way, as individuals, we can learn all the life lessons that we need to learn. But once we're out of these bodies, once we're out of these individual bodies, we'll go back to being a whole with the one entity that's I wouldn't say controlling us, because it's all of us. Like, this is all of our, you know it's hard to explain. This is all of our endeavors. We're doing it together, but as one. You know what I mean? Like, we all have separate minds, separate consciences, because we're all in different bodies. We're in different vessels. But when you die and you go upward in a rapture, you know what I mean? What's gonna happen? God doesn't say in the Bible, you'll be here forever. He doesn't mention what happens afterwards. What I think happens afterwards is he's gonna look at you and say, okay, instantaneously, as soon as you get there, you're gonna realize, okay, I'm you, I'm you, I'm you. We're all the same thing. We're all looking for the same goal. I just simply had a different life because I had a different lesson to learn. I had a different task to learn. And we all learned my lesson. We all learned my task. You know what I mean? It was just my job to go and do it. And then what's going to happen is, when I end up getting and acquiring all that knowledge, living all these lives to learn different lessons, such as, the selfish man has to learn from the generous man, and the generous man has to learn from the selfish man, and the fact that if you're too generous, you get taken advantage of, and if you're too selfish, you're not kind enough to others to get good karma, that kind of thing. I won't always live my life. I'll live many different lives in many different ways, but they won't all be the same. And maybe, when people say, dogs are people too, they're just in a different body and things like that. Maybe that's another thing that they need to learn. Like, for instance, I might be born as a dog again, at some point, because in this life, I don't seem to believe in being under people. You know what I mean? I've been a very arrogant person my entire life, and I'm not too arrogant anymore. But you know, um, it's still a part of me, of who I am. And maybe at some point I'll be born as a dog or a rat, and I'll be forced to work under people to learn that lesson. You know what I mean? Like, it's, and maybe the worse and worse you get, the closer you are to ending your lesson. And what I think is going to happen is basically once we all learn this lesson in life that we need to learn, and we go through and we acquire all the knowledge and intelligence and wisdom that we need, because that's something that never leaves you. People say you're too wise for your ears. Maybe that's because you've gone through so many lives and acquired wisdom, which is something that never leaves you no matter what. You know, you'll lose your intelligence, you'll lose your talents, but you'll never lose your wisdom. So I feel like I'm pretty wise for my years, so I'm assuming I've lived many, many lives, and at some point, I believe, once we have all the knowledge that we need, all the wisdom to start anew. I mean, look at the universe. The universe is so vast, we can't even begin to comprehend how large it really is. Now, what if, we go and we make a Big Bang Theory? Like, for instance, say God is simply one of us, right? Like Christian God, the one who created Earth, the one who, created our solar system. If that's, how it happened, if that's what you guys believe. What if you're not wrong? And what if, the Buddhists aren't wrong? But what if it's not a matter of like things that you take in, like certain things in the Bible. I feel like most things in the Bible should not be taken literally, but there's certain things in the Bible that should be taken very literally. Like we are all God. That's something that should be taken literally, as opposed to, Jesus Christ died and was born again. That's the moral. You know what I mean? That's the moral of the story, that he died for all of our sins kind of thing. But that's not something you should actually follow. For instance, Satanism, right? A lot of people believe in Satanism because they're just darker people. They're like me. They don't want to live a life of, they'd rather rule in hell than serve in heaven. And that just it just depends upon the person, but some people just can't help it. Like, for instance, another thing, gay marriage does not exist in God's eyes, right? But if gay marriage didn't exist in God's eyes, then why would he create gay people? Some people can't help the fact that they're gay. They like the same sex. There's nothing they can do about it, and God made them that way. Perhaps we've made ourselves that way. We chose to be this way, and the reason we put ourselves in a homosexual body was so that way we could learn a lesson or teach a lesson to the people who didn't believe in what we believed in. To teach people to be more open-minded. So, you kind of have to think about that a bit. So, back to what I was saying before, when you have all this wisdom and all this knowledge, basically what I believe is going to happen is we're going to, break off from the pack. We'll still be connected to every other, we'll still be connected to the whole. I like calling it a whole, because it's like, it's me, it's you, it's everybody. It's all of our spirits put into one spirit to make one amazing fucking system. Just a big, beautiful thing. I mean, if you look at just simply our solar system, there's so many other stars out there. What if there's other worlds? What if there's other life, going on? I believe it. I know most of you believe it. It's, we can't be the only ones. We can't be that arrogant to think that we are the only ones to progress this far, and that's where I think perhaps this is all a part of our system. And God, our God, which isn't Buddha, it isn't Jesus, it isn't anybody specific. It's all simply interpretations of the same entity, which is us. And our entity is the same thing as the entity across the galaxy that we've never even gained or even comprehended knowledge of, right? We're all the same thing, but we're specifically God's children. And when we take the time to live on earth and go throughout our experiences and gain our wisdom, then we'll break off from God as being God's children to being our own fathers. And from there, we'll create our own Big Bang Theory somewhere else in the galaxy, and we'll end up creating another world and having our own children. And those children will break off when they've gotten enough knowledge to do their thing. And, like, the same thing pertains to people who believe in energies. They don't believe in religion. It's the same thing. We're all just one energy doing about things. Like, one thing that I believe is, like, a lot of religions, what they do is they say you can't believe in another religion. Maybe it's not a matter of, like, them being selfish. Maybe it's a matter of them teaching you that you need to believe in something, period. That's the most important part, that you believe in something that you believe in and you stick to it. Maybe that's what it's all about. It's not a matter of believing in Jesus Christ or Buddha or Satan. It's a matter of choosing one, and it's a matter of sticking with it, and it's a matter of being open-minded to every other possibility. And for me, I've gone through, many religions, just, kind of getting a look at how each of them work. And after pretty much just soaking it in, I went to a lot of Christian church with my friends. I went to I didn't go to a Satanist church at all. I wouldn't even dare. I wouldn't know what the hell goes down there, but that's irrelevant, But I've looked into it. I've looked into Buddhism and all these other religions, and it's kind of like I, I just one day it just clicked. Like, what if none of these people are wrong? What if we're all right? We're just not looking at it the way we're supposed to. We're not perceiving things the way we're supposed to perceive them. Indians believed in spirits, God. Greek Romans believed in the Greek gods. Like, what if it's all just a matter of, like, the god of lightning, the god of wind? It's all us, but as individuals, it's how you perceive things. You know what I mean? So, when you break it down and you get into the specifics like that, it's probably just one big system too complicated for any of us to comprehend because we're thinking with our minds. You know what I mean? When people say they have like a God moment where they feel God talking to them, then that's true. That is a God moment, but it's not probably a matter of you speaking to someone else. It's probably you speaking to yourself. For me, I had a conversation at a dinner table with a friend and her family, and they were, for the most part, all Christians besides my friend. And I decided to bring up the conversation of religion. Don't ask me why, but I'm the kind of guy who usually likes to contradict religions, and I had that exact intention when I was speaking to them until something just kind of clicked that very moment where I was like, wait a minute, what if he's not wrong? I'm meant to learn a lesson. He's meant to learn a lesson. He was meant, the father was meant to learn that what I was saying probably wasn't completely off the charts. You know what I mean? It did make sense. It fit and it correlated with his religion, but it correlated with all the other religions too. And it correlated with people who believed in just energies, atheists. I think, though, if atheists don't believe in anything except what we see, they're the only people who are actually wrong because they don't believe anything. If they do believe in something as individuals, then that's good too. As long as you believe in something, I feel like when I die, I'm going to soar the cosmos, you know what I mean? Or I'm going to create my own world. Both of those are correct, and I've been thinking this for a very long time. And I used to tell myself, what you believe in is what's true. You know what I mean? It's true to you. If you believe you're gonna go to a society with, a bunch of other Christians, and so be it. That's what's gonna happen for you. It's not gonna happen for me. It's not even gonna be, a thought in the back of my mind. I'm gonna die and do whatever the fuck I do. You know what I mean? But I started to realize maybe that wasn't completely true either. You have an idea of what my theory is. I'm just thinking, you know we're 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 all one. We're all gaining knowledge all at the same time. And sometimes I used to tell myself, like, my favorite guitarist is Dimebag Darrell, and he died in 2004. However, sometimes I feel like I've lived the experiences that he's lived. I've kind of felt it. I'm sure you guys have felt something similar to other people. You know what I mean? So what if it wasn't a matter of me thinking I lived that life, because obviously I was born in 1995. There's no way I was Dimebag Darrell, but maybe, just maybe, we share the same soul, and I share the same soul with everybody else out here, which is why I can connect to other people, why I can talk to people, because I know how they feel. Maybe it's just a matter of me, being so close and connected with my own soul, which is everybody's soul. And it's kind of like, people are big on, like, just don't lose who you are, and you know don't ruin your soul, kind of thing. People say that as if they actually care, but maybe they do actually care. Maybe it's a matter of you hurting yourself is the same thing as hurting everybody. But honestly, I don't think you can ever get rid of your soul, because as soon as you die, you're either going to learn the lesson and complete that task that you were meant to learn in life, or you're not, and you're going to be reincarnated and you're going to try again. Now, everybody knows that God made one mistake. I'm referring to Christianity most of the time because it's the most common, so don't make a big deal out of it. It's helping my theory get across. So everybody knows that God made one mistake, and it was Satan. He was the one angel that was just corrupt. He just messed up. And what if that's the same thing as, like, right now our world is about it's reaching its end. No matter how you look at it, it's going downhill. The ozone layer is tearing apart. There's just so much going on. Global warming is just shitting all over us. There's, fucking people are like, oh, well, we need to be, economy friendly and, take care of the earth and shit. We have Earth days and shit, but nobody really gives a damn. And it's like, what if when the world dies, that's when our time is up to learn all these tasks that we need to learn. And as individuals, when we all break off, you know what I mean, we might not be ready to start our own world. We might make a Big Bang Theory, and create our own solar system, and create our own kingdom, and the same shit's gonna happen. We're gonna have one fucked up guy because we weren't ready yet. We weren't ready to make this perfect world, you know. And somewhere across the galaxy, there probably isn't a perfect world. There probably is a bunch of perfect worlds where violence doesn't exist, you know, where it's complete peace. But the problem right now, what we have is we can't all agree on one thing, and I feel like this theory is the one thing that we can all agree on. It's something that, like, you can be who you are, you can believe what you want to believe, but as long as you progress, and as long as you're not sticking, like, as long as you're not stuck, you know, like, for instance, racism. Look at Martin Luther King Jr. Look, first of all, just look at the people who have been killed before their time. Maybe it wasn't before their time. Maybe they were meant to die when they died. Like Martin Luther King Jr., he, as some of you may or may not know, which I really hope you do, he's the one who, not only the one, but he's a big influence on why there's no racism in America right now. Well, that's completely absurd. There is definitely a racism in America, but it's the reason why we're not segregated the way we were. He was a good protester. He did his job. Now, what would happen if he continued to do that and continued to do that until all the racists were converted into being good people? Those people would never have the opportunity to learn that lesson by themselves. You know what I mean? Like, if Martin Luther King basically held everyone's hand and walked them through it, they wouldn't learn. It's like going to take a math test, cheating on it, and then having another test later and not knowing the answers because you cheated last time and you can't cheat this time. You know what I mean? Like, he was meant to die when he died because he put us on the right path. He wasn't supposed to do everything for us. He was just supposed to give us an idea of where we're supposed to be going. You know, my favorite guitarist, like I was telling you, Dimebag Darrell, he was one of the most generous, sweet guys in the metal industry, right? But if he would have sat there and converted all the other guitarists to be sweet and generous and nice, you know what I mean, and hang out with his fans all the time, you know, nobody would learn their lesson. People would stop being assholes just because they stopped being assholes. They're like, oh, well, he stopped being an asshole and he got more, you know, credit. Maybe I should stop being an asshole. But that's not why people should stop being assholes. They should stop being assholes because they want to stop being assholes. You know, like it's all about self-discovery. It's about people learning these things on their own. You know what I mean? So John Lennon, he was a great influence on people, but he had to die when he died. There was no such thing as dying before your time. When you're ready to go, when, you know what I mean, like, sometimes you look at these really great people and they've already learned their lesson. Obviously, they're on such a great path. They don't need to continue anymore. They're probably Dimebag and John Lennon and fucking Martin Luther King Jr. They probably already started their own worlds already. They're probably creating a fucking star somewhere right now. You know what I mean? They're working on it because they were ready. They're prepared. They've gone through their lives and gathered the wisdom that they needed, and maybe they got a head start because that orb that I was talking to you about, the one that was siphoning out, you know, all of us, you know, maybe they came out before we did, and we're still inside this big orb, and they've already come out and started their journey. You know what I mean? And that's what it's all about. Like, how can you honestly believe that in life you're going to live your life following one God, you're going to die, meet him in heaven, and just stay there? No. What I think is going to happen is he's going to look at you, you're going to instantaneously understand what's been going on this entire time, that you, me, we've all been the same thing, seeking to prosper, you know, to reach enlightenment. But it's not a matter of just reaching enlightenment in one life. It's a matter of reaching enlightenment throughout your entire series of lives. Your soul has to reach it, you know what I mean? And at that point, that's when you'll be ready to go. Some people might not be ready to go. Some people are so far lost right now, you know, and it's sad because you're not gonna have enough time by the way we're treating the earth. The earth is gonna decay and fucking blow up one day, and these people aren't gonna be ready. And if they're not ready, maybe they'll just return to the system. But I mean, think about it. If this has been going on, this theory, since the beginning of time, imagine if every star, you know, or every solar system was just us branching off in some other direction, and we'd have all the knowledge from all the other directions, from all the other, places that had been gathering up, that we're just spreading across the universe, and the universe is expanding while we're spreading. You know what I mean? It's never going to end. Honestly, if it was going to end, if we were going to go to heaven and live in God's peaceful kingdom for the rest of our lives, how empty would you really feel? You wake up every day and it'd be perfect. Oh, okay, cool. I've got this super perfect body and I'm always going to be happy. That's fucking empty. You don't have anything to strive for anymore. That's not, why would you even want that? He doesn't clarify in the Bible what happens after you get there, and I think that's there for a reason, because afterwards he's going to tell you, listen, that guy on the internet was right. You know what I mean? Maybe he was meant to make this video to spread it across to all these other people so that they could have an idea of what it's about. You need to learn to accept other people for their beliefs, because their beliefs are the same thing as your beliefs as far as morals go, aside from, like, the really really dark people. But maybe that's what they need to learn. I don't have all the answers. I couldn't tell you why they need to learn what they're learning right now. Maybe they need to learn to stop being that way. I wouldn't know. I don't have all the answers. I'm still just going off of my very very simplistic mind right now, but I'm giving you the best I got. So, just think about that for a second. When you get there and you get to heaven, you'll take a quick break, but instantaneously you'll know on your own it's time for me to get back to work. I'm gonna create myself another vessel, or maybe it's random, and I'll just be like, okay, here it comes. I'm born, it's my time again, and then you're born. Your soul knows what direction to put you in. It's your intuition. It'll make you make the decisions that you make for a reason. You know what I mean? Or maybe you won't know the decisions that you make, but there's a path already laid out for you, and it's your job to stay as close on that path as you can. And when you veer off, it's your responsibility to get back on the path however you can. You know what I mean? Maybe that's just what life is about. So just take it in. When you go to heaven and God's like, that guy on the internet was right, go, it's time for you to continue your journey. I know you wanted to, stay here with me, but you wouldn't even need to have that conversation, because like I said, you would know. You know what I mean? It would be you talking to yourself. You wouldn't even need to talk. It would probably be like a circle of people, or just like this mass gathering of different souls, and you would all know the same thing is going on. We'd all be the same color, and not a matter of, like, we probably wouldn't even be the same color. That was a very, very, I'm thinking on the spot kind of right now, but we're probably not all going to be the same color, because we are individuals. We're individuals as a whole, you know what I mean? We're like a group of people who actually conform into one amazing, omniscient thing, like it's hard to explain, honestly, but just take this theory that I've given you. Leave your comments, leave any kind of questions. I might not be able to answer all of them, but I'll sure give it the best I got. And tell me what you think. And maybe I'll make a response video. And I think we'll just take it from there. So you guys take care. And this isn't me telling you to stop believing what you believe in. I think you should have gathered that by now. It's me telling you that what you believe in is what you need to believe in. You need to stick to it. You need to truly believe in something, and have good morals, and go about your life following those morals. Stick to your code. All right. I'm out. Are you gonna go enjoy my birthday now? Yeah, take care, guys, and spread the word, spread the video. If you guys think I'm full of shit, then write that down. Let me know why you think I'm full of shit, and I'll get back to you guys on it. All right, peace.